The echo of ages. Sarah Williams stood quietly in the university library, her fingers tracing the spine of an ancient history textbook. The late afternoon sunlight filtered through tall windows, casting long shadows across the wooden tables where students hunched over their studies. She had always felt overwhelmed by the vastness of human history, struggling to understand how all the pieces fit together. Tomorrow was her final exam in world civilizations, and despite months of study, the timeline felt like scattered puzzle pieces in her mind. Ancient Egypt seemed disconnected from medieval Europe. The Renaissance felt worlds away from the Industrial Revolution. How could she possibly grasp the entire sweep of human civilization in just one night? Taking a deep breath, Sarah opened the book to the first chapter. The words seemed to shimmer in the golden light as she began to read about humanity's earliest days. In the beginning, small groups of people wandered across vast landscapes. They moved with the seasons, following herds of animals and gathering wild plants. Their footsteps marked the earth lightly, leaving behind cave paintings that whispered their stories to future generations. These nomadic peoples carried their entire world with them, sharing oral traditions around flickering campfires under star-filled skies. Slowly everything changed. Along the fertile banks of great rivers, people discovered they could plant seeds and wait for harvest. The Tigris and Euphrates cradled Mesopotamia. The Nile nourished Egypt. The Indus Valley flourished with planned cities. The Yellow River gave birth to Chinese civilization. For the first time in human history, people could stay in one place and build something permanent. Sarah felt herself being drawn deeper into the story. She could almost see the first farmers, their hands dark with soil, watching green shoots emerge from planted fields. The certainty of harvest meant surplus food, and surplus food meant some people could focus on other things. Craftsmen shaped pottery and forged metal tools. Priests built temples reaching toward the heavens. Kings established laws and armies. The great pyramids rose from Egyptian sands, each stone placed with mathematical precision. Mesopotamian scribes pressed wedge-shaped marks into clay tablets, creating the world's first written words. In the Indus Valley, engineers designed sophisticated drainage systems for their brick cities. Chinese philosophers pondered the nature of harmony and balance. Time flowed like a mighty river, carrying civilizations forward. The Greeks gathered in the agora to debate democracy and philosophy. Roman legions marched across 3 continents, building roads that connected distant lands. In the Americas, Maya astronomers calculated celestial movements with startling accuracy, while Inca engineers carved terraces into mountain slopes. Sarah paused, realizing something beautiful was happening. The seemingly disconnected pieces were beginning to form a pattern, each civilization built upon the knowledge of those who came before. Like stones in a great cathedral of human achievement, the medieval period brought new connections. Islamic scholars preserved ancient Greek texts and advanced mathematics and medicine. Viking longships crossed treacherous seas to reach new lands. Along the Silk Road, merchants carried not just goods but ideas, technologies, and beliefs across continents. Cathedrals soared skyward in Europe while temples and pagodas graced Asian landscapes. The Renaissance burst forth like spring after a long winter. Artists rediscovered perspective and beauty. Scientists questioned old assumptions and made new discoveries. Explorers sailed beyond the edge of known maps, connecting continents that had never touched. The printing press spread knowledge faster than ever before, democratizing learning and information. Steam engines began to churn and whistle, announcing the Industrial Revolution. Factories filled with workers producing goods at unprecedented scales. Railways stretched across nations like iron veins, pumping commerce and people from place to place. Cities grew larger and more complex, buzzing with energy and possibility. The 20th century accelerated the pace of change. Two world wars reminded humanity of its capacity for both destruction and resilience. The same species that had once hunted with stone tools now split atoms and reached for the moon. Communication technologies shrank the globe, making neighbors of people separated by vast oceans. Sarah looked up from her book, surprised to find tears in her eyes. The late afternoon had given way to evening, and the library had grown quiet around her. But something remarkable had happened during those hours of reading. The overwhelming chaos of human history had transformed into something coherent and beautiful. She realized that every civilization, no matter how different, had grappled with the same fundamental human needs. They had all sought food and shelter, meaning and connection, beauty and understanding. The ancient cave painters and modern digital artists were separated by tens of thousands of years, yet they shared the same creative impulse. The Mesopotamian lawgiver and the contemporary judge both sought justice and order. The gentle twist that had eluded her all semester now seemed obvious. Human civilization wasn't a series of disconnected chapters but a single, continuous story. Each generation inherited the accumulated wisdom, mistakes, and dreams of all who came before. The smartphone in her pocket contained technologies that traced back to ancient metallurgy, medieval optics, and Renaissance mathematics. Standing up slowly, Sarah felt a profound sense of connection to the vast human family that stretched back to the dawn of time. She was not just studying history, she was part of it. Every choice she made, every kindness she showed, every problem she solved would ripple forward into an unknowable future. The exam tomorrow no longer felt overwhelming. Instead, it felt like an opportunity to celebrate the incredible journey that had brought humanity from small bands of nomads to a global civilization, capable of both great beauty and terrible destruction. She was ready to tell that story with the reverence and wonder it deserved. Walking toward the library exit, Sarah noticed other students still bent over their books, wrestling with their own academic challenges. She smiled, understanding now that they were all part of the same ancient human tradition of learning, growing, and passing knowledge to the next generation. The echo of ages resonated in her heart as she stepped into the evening air, carrying the entire history of human civilization within her, ready to add her own chapter to the endless story.